Department of Health to open the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline. They provide information on testing sites, isolation space, vaccines, housing assistance, and food resources. If you or someone you know has questions about COVID-19 or has questions to determine if you should get tested, please call them at 651-304-9986. Again, the number is 651-304-9986. The Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline is open for calls Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Call the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline at 651-304-9986. That's 651-304-9986.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy, but with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
Hey, Ogimaa, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
Hey, I'm 950 Weather. I'm Patrick Lilia. Clear skies overnight with a low of 67, then heavy showers and thunderstorms possible on Wednesday with a high of 80. The 49th annual Twin Cities Pride Festival will be held at Loring Park in Minneapolis this Saturday and Sunday, featuring local BIPOC and LGBTQ+ vendors, food courts, a beer garden, and music stages. More at tcpride.org.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut, hit me cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanjahade.
This portion of the show is brought to you by the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline. Call them at 651-304-9986. They're open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Hey, sorry about throwing it to you so quick. You're used to me talking away.
Yeah, well, you usually say, as we all know, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
Jeez, I know I'm rusty. You guys did a great job. I want to give you guys a quick shout out for the great show yesterday. Hey, today we're going to mix it up a little bit.
Yeah.
952-946-6205. We'll put that in the chat and out there. Give us a call after Ogimaa with the news, and then you're going to end up the show with your sacred animal section with some horrible news, but it needs to be brought up, and I'm feeling good about being back, and Lewis and Ogimaa did a great job as always. Absolutely. We couldn't do the show without them. So speaking of which, you don't hear any of this kind of news all over Turtle Island, and it's really exciting and to have Ogimaa with the news. Welcome, Ogimaa.
Hi, Annie Bouchou, Robert Wendy. This is Ogimaa, Giniw, Ikwe, and I, as always, have some Stop Line 3 news for you today. Some events that are coming up. I just found out that tomorrow, Wednesday, July 14th, from 3 to 4:30 p.m., there will be a Treaty Partners to the MN State Capitol rally, meaning tribal councils and representatives and members from the White Earth Nation are going to be at the Minnesota State Capitol tomorrow, Wednesday, July 14th, from 3 to 4:30 p.m., requesting nation-to-nation dialogue with Minnesota Governor Walz and Lieutenant Governor Flanagan and U.S. President Joe Biden to insist that the federal trust responsibilities are respected, treaties are honored, and the DNR's dewatering permits for Line 3 are revoked. The Line 3 tar sands oil pipeline is stopped, and the rights of Manuman or wild rice are respected under the American Indian Religious Freedom Act. This is a family-friendly event, and everybody is welcome. Again, that's tomorrow at the Minnesota State Capitol from 3 to 4:30 p.m. Speakers include White Earth Chairman Michael Fairbanks, Alan Roy, Secretary Treasurer for White Earth Tribal Nation, Ray Ogimaa, District 1 Representative, Wabanu, who is going to be speaking on behalf of Kathy Goodwin, who is District 2 Representative, and Cheryl Jackson, who is District 3 Representative. They are going to have the Iron Boy Singers as a drum in for that group. So that is an exciting event, and I think that it is a long overdue for our nations to be going directly to our state government and even to the federal government and going, hey, we're a nation too, we're our own government, you need to negotiate with us the same way that you do with Canada when it comes to things like the Enbridge pipeline, right, Robert?
No, and I think Wendy and I might swing by there, but this needs to be happening and needs to be amplified, and I'm glad you're bringing this up today.
Yes, absolutely. And then if you are in northern Minnesota, or even if you're not in northern Minnesota and you want to come hang out in northern Minnesota, Thursday from 12 to 3 p.m. is going to be Women for the Rivers to Stop Line 3 at the Shell City Campground. This is an event by Giniw Collective, Rise Coalition, and others. They are going to be having V, who is formerly known as Eve Ensler, who wrote the Vagina Monologues, and the Academy Award-winning actress Marissa Tomei at the Shell City Campground, which is in Monaga, Minnesota, which is near Park Rapids. And not a lot of people know where Monaga is, but most people know where Park Rapids is in Minnesota. It's a big tourist area, and it's right where Enbridge's Line 3 is going to be cutting through all of that beautiful water where people come to enjoy. So please, this Thursday on July 15th, from 12 to 3 p.m., if you can, get up to the Shell City Campground in Monaga, Minnesota, and, take part in what's happening there. You can RSVP and get information about busing at stopline3.org/events/women for the rivers, all smushed together as one word. Another event that's coming up is the screening of the film First Daughter and the Black Snake on July 17th at 8 p.m. That is going to be happening via the Extinction Rebellion, and it's going to be airing, it looks like, I apologize. It says to meet at the corner of East and of E and 4th Street Northwest on Saturday, July 17th. But I apologize. I don't actually know what city that's supposed to be in. So I'm going to have to come back to that one, you guys. Today feels like a Monday.
I'm still excited to have Marissa Tomei on here. I met her years ago when they were shooting a move called Angel Heart, but it was called Babu Heart at the time. And it was shot here in the Twin Cities and at First Avenue. I met her. So go up there and get a selfie and protect the water.
Yes, that would be really, really cool to meet somebody like Marissa Tomei at that event. So I know we've talked about it a couple of times over the past few weeks, or the past week, really, since it happened. But the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency is apparently investigating the drilling fluid spill that occurred on the Willow River in Aiken County on July 6th. That was the fault of Enbridge Energy. Drilling was supposedly halted after the non-toxic spill, they claim. Non-toxic spill was discovered early July 6th, and contaminant and cleanup activities were started. And this was according to the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency spokeswoman Corey Rude Young. And this was this past Monday. They claim that the this is still, well, the Star Tribune is still perpetuating this notion that Line 3 is a replacement project in Minnesota, despite the fact that Enbridge had to cut an entirely new corridor in a totally different route for the majority of this pipeline. So, I mean, that's my first issue with this article, which came out of the Star Tribune. My second issue is that they are... they're talking about Enbridge and the MPCA as if they're, really hand in hand and things are really being paid attention to. But from my understanding, there was nobody from the MPCA who came to the site of this spill. And the police actually showed up to arrest the water protectors that were there. In fact, police now have a perimeter around the Willow River spill in Minnesota to prevent water protectors from coming in and checking in on what the status of this spill is. They're claiming that the drilling mud, there was between 80 and 100 gallons of drilling mud that were released into the Willow River. And they're claiming that the drilling mud released was bentonite clay, water, and xanthan gum called Sandmaster. And it is approved apparently under the 401 water quality certification. And they said the xanthan gum is a non-toxic sucrose-based emulsifier more commonly used as a food additive, but they didn't mention anything about the bentonite clay. And from my understanding of what is in these components when they do this drilling underneath rivers, the bentonite clay is something that is not healthy to aquatic life there. It's composed of very fine particles which can smother aquatic life in the area. Not to mention, apparently, it is supposedly toxic if you Google bentonite clay. So I'm not really sure how accurate this article is, but apparently in addition to the drilling mud release, the MPCA is continuing to investigate dewatering charges that have allegedly been non-compliant with the MPC authorizations, meaning that there was a letter sent in March to the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources because the DNR approved Enbridge's request to move 10 times as much water as originally planned, which is about 5 billion gallons. So there's a lot of stuff happening. And I do have one more piece of information, Robert, that I wanted to share, but maybe it'd have to go into the next section.
Yeah, why don't we do that and listen to the soothing music before we go into the next section. Also, after Ogimaa's section, we're going to open up we're going to have a little round table talk.
Give out that phone number one more time.
952-946-6205. That's 952-946-6205. Give us a call. Check in. We all need to talk about what's sane and what's not, and we all need to protect Mother Earth. Hey, you're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and up next, the end of the news and open mic. We'll be right back.
Stay with us. Hey, Ogimaa, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
Unwanted sexting or photos, inappropriate jokes, even tickling or wrestling can feel like a violation. Catcalling, cornering, or groping, getting them drunk or high for sex, recording sexual acts without permission, hurting someone because of their sexual orientation, raping a family member, a child, a date, a friend, a stranger, purchasing a human being for sex. You make the choice every single time. Sexual violence is many things. Make a choice. Do not do it.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
If you're hurting in your relationship or have been affected by sexual violence, you're not alone. Strong Hearts Native Helpline can help you through these difficult and uncertain times. Strong Hearts Helpline is a free 24/7 confidential domestic dating and sexual violence helpline for Native Americans. Help is available by calling 1-844-762-8483 or by clicking on the Chat Now icon on strongheartshelpline.org. This message is sponsored by the National Indigenous Women's Resource Center.
Over the past year and more, we've all missed out on a lot. Family time, graduations, weddings. And missing those events, we've missed out on even more. Friendships, connections, community, belonging. That's a long time to miss things this important. So don't miss on getting the COVID-19 vaccine. Vaccines are now available throughout Hennepin County to anyone over the age of 16. Just visit takecarehennepin.org and sign up to get yours. That's takecarehennepin.org.
Bijou. I am Oshawashko Gijig. I'm from Red Lake Nation, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
Hey, welcome back to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is brought to you by MN350, a grassroots organization fighting for climate justice.
Hey, while we're waiting for the phone lines to light up,
You know, a lot of people are nervous to call on the radio.
Go in the other room and call us. And then we just need that first call.
Yeah,
and then the
people,
floodgates
exactly.
open. I know we've done the show on Saturdays and live, and we've had people.
You always need one person
right.
to start it.
We need a
start
fake
the trend.
call.
I remember when we went to a wedding, Robert. Do you remember this? And there was karaoke at the wedding, and the reason why is because the bride was a beautiful singer.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember Blair's wedding? And then
I was the first one to sing.
Yep, Robert was. That's what I was going to say. Robert was the first one to sing, and he opened up the floodgates. And after that, everybody else called. I think somebody's.
Yeah. Well, while we're waiting, Lewis. Well, wait a second here.
Ogimaa had more news, didn't she?
That's right.
Yeah.
You know, I got to pay attention to the show. Ogimaa, go ahead.
Yeah, actually, the last thing I wanted to cover, I know that we always talk about, follow the money when we talk about big projects like Line 3. So what's happening right now is that federal ethics regulators have ordered one of Joe Biden's top domestic policy advisors, Ms. Susan Rice, to divest her multi-million-dollar holdings from fossil fuel giant Enbridge and others in this past week, because the Biden administration had basically approved of the Line 3 pipeline. So the pipeline decision, which then backed a Trump administration policy, came as the company, Enbridge's company, the stock prices went really high. And that has created what is essentially a financial jackpot for Susan Rice, who is the domestic policy council chief, and will now be able to delay what's called capital gains taxes on any money made off of the sale of her thousands of shares in Enbridge Energy. So basically, Rice has been instructed by the U.S. Office of Government Ethics to divest stock worth nearly $32 million from more than 36 companies and one index fund that she and her family own. Among those holdings, 2.7 million of them are shares in Enbridge, the Canadian oil and gas company, currently constructing Line 3 in Minnesota. So this is kind of big news that she's being ordered to divest from this, but it's also kind of frustrating because there's a good chance that she's probably going to have basically a tax shelter for herself and her family. Thank you to a law which allows federal officials to defer capital gains levies when facing divestment orders. So basically, other beneficiaries of this tax break have been Treasury Secretary Hank Paulson, who sold $500 million in Goldman Sachs after joining the Bush administration, and former ExxonMobil CEO Rex Tillerson, who unloaded $54 million worth of company stock after becoming Secretary of State in the Trump administration. And the Biden Energy Secretary Jen Granholm recently made $1.6 million when she divested from an electric vehicle company. So it's not just oil and gas pipelines that politicians are making this kind of money doing this. So the other thing that the Office of Government and Ethics is ordering Rice to do is ordering Rice and her family to sell off 1.1 million shares of Johnson & Johnson, which is the pharmaceutical company who is making the one-dose COVID-19 vaccine. So there's a lot of kind of dark things happening with that.
Yeah, Susan Rice was in the Obama administration, and I couldn't remember her name because this came up and it was gone in the news. And so thanks again for bringing that up. And hey, we got David from Richfield that has a question that maybe we can answer. Pinigigi, David, for stopping in, and Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake.
Hey, hi, Robert and all. I appreciate this a lot. I'm very passionate about it too. I love the nation and nation dialogue. I think that's a really smart idea. And exploring the past administration's Wall Street investments. I wanted to mention to everybody that MN350 has, signs for your lawn, Line 3 signs for $5. MN350, when you go pick them up, I'll go pick them up at 33rd and Lindale at the bike shop in 2 days once you fill out the form. I posted this stuff on Facebook, and I have 2,000 followers, and when I've been yakking it up, and what I discovered is that after talking to 40 people over the weekend, that 19 out of 20, and the only people that heard this story were from Duluth, and so I think they ran it on local news, but people in Minneapolis have not heard this story, and a journalist from Duluth wrote the Minneapolis Tribune article. And last thing I'll say is that we need to pull back and go, this water goes all the way to Hudson Bay, or it goes all the way through the Great Lawrence Seaway, or it goes from the Mississippi watershed all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. So the potential with this dirty oil of polluting the entire planet.
Yeah. Wow. David, thanks for giving us a call and giving us a shout out to MN350 and where to get those signs. Wendy, we see these signs all over the neighborhood here in the Twin Cities.
But like David said, a lot of people don't even know what's going on. They've never even heard about Line 3. They have no clue, what's happening. So, we just have to keep talking about it, put up our signs. When people see the signs, they might say, what is this? What is Line 3? And then they'll look it up to find out what's going on. But,
yeah,
a lot of people don't know.
Really good points all around. Lewis, we were talking a little bit about what's happening at the Capitol. What are your thoughts? And again, 952-946-6205. Leslie, give us a call at 952-946-6205. Yeah, what do you think, Lewis?
It's tragic that in 2021 we still have to assert our nation and nation treaty rights with the federal government. You think at this point, considering all the activism that our past relatives have done in things like mascots and things like dirty oil pipelines, environmental activism, as well as partnering with other oppressed communities, that we would have more visibility to them and we would have more of an opportunity to have these type of dialogues. But time and time again, we have to assert our constitutional, section, our constitutional rights when it comes to indigenous activism. Constitutions are living documents that are in our Constitution, and they're living documents that still exist. If you believe the Constitution is a living document that affects us, you believe the Declaration of Independence, and you believe treaties as well. Article 6, Section 2 of the Constitution states that treaties are the supreme law of the land, and we're talking about that today. This is something called federal trust responsibility, and federal trust responsibility is how the government sees us. And this was done Cherokee versus Georgia in the early 1800s. You had the Marshall Trilogy that made us domestic dependent. So we are forced to have these type of dialogues with the government. When it comes to the 1855 Chippewa Treaty in northern Minnesota, we are supposed to be consulted about environmental impacts to our communities, and that's why we're asserting our sovereignty and our treaty rights up there.
Yeah. Hey, if people don't know this, Lewis is TikTok famous and also just a great addition to Native Roots Radio, Wendy.
Oh, absolutely. And I just have something here that I want to share really quick, but go ahead, keep talking while I find it.
Yeah. But Lewis, why don't you give your handle out there so people all over Turtle Island can follow you on TikTok?
Sure. On social media, you can find me on TikTok, which is a application, and it's at Lakota Guy, Lakota Guy, like not girl, but guy, all one word. And you can find me there.
Awesome. Yeah. And that's how how we found you or how I knew of you, and the great information that you can spew out in less than a minute is just amazing.
Yeah, it is. And I finally asked yesterday for Lewis's bio. Lewis Eagle Thunder is a Lakota activist, father, and history keeper, a citizen of the Rosebud Sioux Nation. I'm sorry about that. Rosebud Sioux Nation. He is also on TikTok teaching history, and that's really important that he's teaching history on TikTok.
Yeah, he probably went to school with Sue Bud, but he's from
Yeah,
Rosebud.
sorry about that. Oh, my goodness.
That's cool. Hey, we got a couple minutes left in this segment. 952-946-6205. Go ahead, Ogimaa.
Yeah, I just wanted to remind people too. I know this is kind of a joke that comes up now, because us Native people, we like to laugh at everything. But, as Lewis is talking about, our constitutionally held rights and, the rights that we have in the Declaration of Independence. I mean, the Declaration of Independence still technically does refer to us as merciless Indian savages. And despite all of the progress that Native people have made in the past even 10 years, it still reads in the Declaration of Independence that is what we're called. And I think that it really makes a little bit of sense that we have to fight so hard when both of those when the language that treaties of the supreme law of the land and calling us that are both in the same documents.
No doubt. Great point. Hey, give us a call, 952-946-6205. This is Call In Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake Day. And we'll be right back after this short break. And please
stay with us.
Ho-ho. Hey, Wendy, what are we doing for dinner after the show?
How about we go to J. Selby's on 169 Victoria Street in St. Paul? They have a delicious plant-based menu that's compassionate and environmentally sustainable.
I'm getting their spot-on vegan Big Mac, the dirty secret.
You can pick up and they deliver within a 5-mile radius, or you can call them at 651-222-3263 or visit jselbys.com.
Well, you sold me, Wen. Let's go order at J. Selby's tonight.
I'm hungry.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
We have vital information we would like to share with you. The Department of Indian Works St. Paul partnered with the Minnesota Department of Health to open the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline. They provide information on testing sites, isolation space, vaccines, housing assistance, and food resources. If you or someone you know has questions about COVID-19 or has questions to determine if you should get tested, please call them at 651-304-9986. Again, the number is 651-304-9986. The Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline is open for calls Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Call the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline at 651-304-9986. That's 651-304-9986.
Life is a journey, and the Doherty Family College will help you get where you want to go. Located downtown Minneapolis, this affordable 2-year college provides free textbooks, a laptop, meals, career coaches, one-on-one mentorship, and a Metro Transit pass, making DFC the perfect pathway to a bachelor's degree. Turn your dreams into reality. Connect with a counselor today at dfc.stthomas.edu.
Hi, this is Desi Doyen of the Green News Report and the Bradcast. You're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Over the past year and more, we've all missed out on a lot. Family time, graduations, weddings. And missing those events, we've missed out on even more. Friendships, connections, community, belonging. That's a long time to miss things this important. So don't miss on getting the COVID-19 vaccine. Vaccines are now available throughout Hennepin County to anyone over the age of 16. Just visit takecarehennepin.org and sign up to get yours. That's takecarehennepin.org.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Clear skies overnight with a low of 67, then heavy showers and thunderstorms possible on Wednesday with a high of 80. Enjoy some revolutionary Cuban cooking at Victor's 1959 Cafe on Grand Avenue in South Minneapolis. The dining room and patio are now open for breakfast and lunch, with takeout and delivery still available too. More at victors1959cafe.com.
This is Winona LaDuke of Honor the Earth, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio. I'm Awake.
We are Elusive Nation.
Hey, welcome back. The Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is brought to you by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition. I just want to mention that Jay Selby's, which is a plant-based eatery who supports Native Roots Radio, they're located at 169 Victoria Street. You could go in
St. Paul.
In St. Paul. You could go and sit down and have something to eat now.
Yummy.
Yeah.
My stomach just growled, and I have to work after the show, so I'm like,
well, I could go pick up some food.
Good idea. Hey, back again to the live show here. Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and we have Susan from Dane, Wisconsin. So hopefully she's listening to us on Double Radio. Welcome, Susan.
Well, thank you. I listen to your show every day, and if I can't get it, I listen to the podcast. I get so much information from you three. You're just amazing. But the question I really had is, I wanted to know one thing is I email President Biden all the time, and I wanted to know if someone from your show could communicate during the Devil's Advocate time about Line 3 so people know. Really, in southern Wisconsin, I don't think people understand the importance of what this Line 3 is going to do to everybody. And I understand it, and it's very frustrating for me. So anyway, I'm just trying to help. So how can I help, I guess?
I'm going to hand that over to Ogimaa.
Hi, Susan. Hi. Thank you so much for that question. That was actually something that I was going to talk about today on Native Roots Radio, was how to get involved to help stop Line 3. I mean, a lot of people think that you have to come and chain yourself to a bulldozer, and you really don't have to do that. But, there are a lot of really important ways that you can get involved to help stop Line 3. And a lot of those are things like what you just mentioned. You can, write letters to Biden. You can send supplies. You can come to the front lines and serve in a role, helping to prepare meals, helping to clean things up, educating new folks, running errands, giving rides, those kinds of things. There's a lot of places that just need those types of help here. A good place where you can go to kind of find out what's going on and how you can get information about the camps and how to get connected and what you can do. You can go to stopline3.org/hub. That's HUB. It has a lot of great information on the known camps and how to get connected. And then if you're looking for somebody to help guide you, there is a JOT form that's linked in on that stopline3.org. Stopline3.org is really going to be kind of your one-stop shop for right now. To get a lot of this information. But if you're a little bit more hands-off, you can sign the pledge. There's a pledge of resistance at MN350, and you can sign up for that pledge Pledge of Resistance at mn350.org/pledge. And that will allow you to get regular emails and information on the frontline camps. And following frontline camps, Giniw Collective, Wildlife Protection Camp, Red Lake Treaty Camp, Welcome Water Protectors Camp, following all of those places on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or following Resist Line 3 on Twitter and Instagram are also really good ways to help show up and support the movement, just like you're doing, talking about it, emailing Biden all the time. We need all the people that we all know emailing Biden all the time, right?
Let's just keep it simple real quick and give that first email address that people are the website address real quick so people can chime in right away. And one of the things I want to say too, Wendy, is that one of the best ways to support and help and learn about Line 3 is sharing out Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake. Ogimaa does a great opening, and we have a lot of guests that are boots on the ground, from Tara Hauska to Winona LeDuc. So yeah.
Share it out.
Share it out. Hey, we got Alan from Egan calling in. Welcome, Alan, to Native Roots Radio.
Enbridge is probably using the bentonite for as a lubricant, like grease, because bentonite, when it's wet, is super slippery, and it sort of stays put. It's hard. You can't really just squeegee it off either if it's like on concrete.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably lubricating their cutting head.
Yeah, I did hear that.
Shaft.
Can you talk about maybe how much that hurts the environment, and people really don't know what's in that?
Well, bentonite's a clay that, when it's fired, it gives a really unique red color, and the indigenous people of North and South Dakota used it to make a lot of pottery back in the day. I know it's used in the taconite mines when they pelletize as the bonding agent to hold all the face powder fine iron pieces together before they put it in the 4-story kiln to heat it or fire it.
Wow, yeah. Well, appreciate you calling and checking in. You got anything else before I let you go?
No, but I love your show.
Oh, Peeny Gigi, thank you so much, Alan. That was Alan from Egan, Wendy.
Awesome. Thank you, Alan.
Yeah. Wow. We run into this all the time, that we have so many people listening to us, and I know it's fun to see the Facebook posts like "We Love Ogimaa," and like I just saw today, Lewis has great content on TikTok, and it's just awesome to be part of this group.
Yeah, and if anybody's listening to us on Facebook and are friends with us on Facebook, just share out our show so more people could learn about Line 3 and what's going on.
Absolutely. Hey, and again, the number is 952-946-6205. Do you have anything to add, Lewis, about the toxic chemical that they're using to push through those dirty tar sands that are like peanut butter to get them through those pipes?
It's interesting you bring that up, because we took a trip up north to the iron ore mines a little bit ago, and there's these giant holes in the earth, and then all the stuff they did, all the processing it did to take out that iron ore and stuff. And I think to myself, how much time is it going to take to have this restored? How much time is it going to take for the earth to restore itself from all the mines and all the digging? And when we think about that, we could also think about things like fracking, and fracking and these tar sands. It's just not the oil pipeline. People think that, we're just concerned about the pipeline. We're concerned about the entire process. We're concerned about that stuff actually going to China on barges. And if one of those barges sink or collapse, like, that's going to affect our ocean, which is currently being under attack by plastics, and the refinement of it, which is going to go in. I mean, this is a holistic issue. It's just not a pipeline. I mean, people just consider it one thing. It's a holistic issue we're trying to battle here.
Yeah, and again, I talk about this a lot, Wendy and Ogimaa, is that Native teachings are not unique. I mean, people in Italy, people in Ireland once felt this way until they were colonized, and I feel like I know Native Americans are the last last front for Mother Earth, because everyone talks about, oh, the Earth's gonna, end, and it's not the Earth's gonna end. It's our next 7 generations that won't be able to handle what's happening all over Turtle Island.
Exactly. Climate change. We're seeing it happening out west, and it's coming our way, and we're having horrible heat. People are dying, and it's going to continue.
Yeah.
Right.
Go ahead.
One of my other stories is that the Navajo Nation, the Navajo Nation Tribal Utility Authority, due to severe water shortages, they're actually shutting down domestic water allocation to several chapters within their branches, meaning they are shutting a supply of water down to people because the water level is so dire in that part of the country right now. And the Navajo Nation has been dealing with low water supply and contaminated water supply from mining and nuclear issues. So since, I don't know, Robert, what would you say, like the late 50s, early 60s, this started coming out? And that was just when it started being made aware, right?
Right. Well, I'm not that old, but yeah, right around there. And one of the things too that while you're talking, Ogimaa, spurred me was that we have lakes and rivers up north in northern Minnesota drying up, and yet they want to take Enbridge wants to take 5 billion gallons of water to basically sideways frack. Lewis, what what the heck?
Yeah, I mean, it's irreversible damage, and Ogimaa's been talking about this for months, how these water permits and the things that they're doing. I mean, even today, that's a great argument, Ogimaa, you put up. Is I hear it from so many people that have lived up there, non-Indigenous people. Oh, it's just a replacement. No, these are new lines. These are completely different areas, and I think there's a lot of misinformation and assumptions going into this pipeline, assuming that, it's just gonna, replace something and it's harmless and it's, all this stuff. When in fact, they're getting these permits for all these gallons of water that exceed, anyone go to Mille Lacs Lake, around the 4th of July? Did you go up there? Did you fish? Well, think of all that body of water. Their permit exceeds the amount of water in Lake Mille Lacs, and people don't understand that.
Yeah, great point. And it's just exhausting at times, Wendy.
It is exhausting, and my segment is also going to be exhausting. So I'm sorry to bring that up, but we all have to do something. We all have to speak up. We all have to send emails. We all have to vote. We all have to sign petitions. We all have to do what we have to do. We all have to donate. If everybody just does a little bit, nobody can do it all. But if everyone just does a little bit, we can get it done.
Hey, I just want to read something before we change, go into the next segment. Janet, who's on Facebook Live, says, I'm not sure if this is the same Benetton clay as the one that has the California 65 warning on it, but the warning states minerals in this have been known to cause cancer, birth defects, reproductive harm, and so on.
Yeah, the bentonite clay.
Yeah. So, Pinigigi for that, bringing that up, and all the people that are listening to us and supporting us, I really appreciate it, and really appreciate the team here. We have Wendy with Ogimaa and Lewis and all our weekly guests that are on.
It was great to have some phone calls today.
Yeah, really great. And it's always great to have people, while we're on live here, we're paying attention to what our people are saying here in their comments. And I also, too, was just thinking this before we get going here, is that I want to give a big shout out to Pinigigi for people that do two things. They support our sponsors, which we support, or they wouldn't be our sponsors. And two, our Patreon. Our Patreon's really helped us through these dire times, and I really want to give everyone a shout out for that, Wendy.
Absolutely.
Hey, we'll be right back after this with our native animal section.
Stay with us. Hey, Ogimaa, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
COVID-19 vaccines are safe, effective, free, and approved for everyone over the age of 12. Need help getting a COVID-19 vaccine? Trusted community connectors can find vaccination sites, make appointments, answer questions, and provide interpretation. To learn more about scheduling a free appointment or find a community connector, visit ramseycounty.us/COVID vaccine. That's ramseycounty.us/COVID vaccine.
We have vital information we would like to share with you. The Department of Indian Work St. Paul partnered with the Minnesota Department of Health to open the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline. They provide information on testing sites, isolation space, vaccines, housing assistance, and food resources. If you or someone you know has questions about COVID-19 or has questions to determine if you should get tested, please call them at 651-304-9986. Again, the number is 651-304-9986. The Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline is open for calls Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Call the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline at 651-304-9986. That's 651-304-9986.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
Hey, welcome back. Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations.
Wow, this has been an interesting show. We really appreciate the phone calls and all the comments that we get on Facebook Live and YouTube and all around Turtle Island.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it and want to give a special shout out to Devil Radio out there that's simulcasting our show and a proud partner with our show, Wendy.
They're in Wisconsin.
We were right. And we were talking a little bit earlier about being a negative Nancy and coming in and doing your segment, but I don't believe that at all. I think our sacred beings and relatives need a voice and need to, and I think part of what we do here is we give out the truth. So I don't think of it that way at all. And I really appreciate your segment in this show, and I just want to start it off. You're a humane policy volunteer leader for the Humane Society of the United States, and you work on animal issues at the state and local level. Tell us your name, Wendy, and let's get rolling.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. My name is Hanajihi Hani, and that means cares for them. I was given that name by my Dega Curtis, Mashke Hanajinga, which means walks on white clouds. So as always, Curtis, thank you so much for that name. Today I have some bad news. Last week I spoke about the Ogimaa horses in Utah. And these are wild horses, and there's quite a few different herds there, and they have lived in this area, and they're named the Ogimaa horses because of the mountain ranges there. What is happening is the Bureau for Land Management is saying that these horses are damaging the land there, and because of the drought and there's no water and there's no forage for these horses to eat, that they need to do a roundup. So what they do is they come in with helicopters. And what they do is they round up these horses using helicopters. So the helicopters fly really, really low. If anybody has ever been around a helicopter, I mean, we're human beings and we can understand what a helicopter is. And when they fly really low, we experienced that in Standing Rock, right? They came really low. It blows a lot of wind down and dirt flies up in your face. And it's just terrorizing when you know what it is. So these poor horses living here for really centuries are going to be round up because of the Bureau of Land Management. The BLM is going to round them up. And, they say that they're going to adopt these animals out. Now, these animals belong to, they belong on this land.
Right.
They don't need to be adopted by humans. They're wild horses. That's
Right.
where they live. Ogimaa said earlier today, follow the money.
Yeah.
So we're going to follow the money and we're going to see what's happening, because the reason why they're really rounding up these horses is because cattlemen and ranchers need the land for cows and sheep.
Wendy, I was listening to an interview and about the Comanches in the fall and the Comanches, and one of the things, interview with the author about that, and one of the things he said is this was one of the fastest land grabs on the face of the earth, and all of a sudden there was ranches everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Well,
everywhere from when they moved west, the colonizers moved west.
Mm-hmm.
They all of a sudden owned this land and owned whatever they could do to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to talk a little bit about these herds. I mean, these herds are family members. So there's mares with foals. And when the helicopters come, they're going to be separated, right? They're going to be terrorized and separated from each other. And it's really going to be hard on the animals. Now, there's one animal, and I just want to say this too. People come from all over the United States and even over the around the world to come to Utah to photograph and to look at these horses, because they're just so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
There's one that's kind of famous. His name is Old Man Gandalf, and he's about 30 years old. He's a white horse, and he's just beautiful. And unfortunately, he's really beloved.
Yeah.
And he's an icon of the Ogimaa horses. He's elderly, he's frail.
He's kind of got a hippie, a Beatle haircut.
I think that's a younger picture of him. If you're watching us on Facebook, there is a picture of Old Man Gandalf up there. But unfortunately, he's probably not going to survive the roundup, because he's frail and he'll be terrorized, and he can't really run that fast, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is the Bureau of Land Management, if he even makes it into the traps that they have, he will be at risk of being shot by the BLM, the Bureau of Land Management, which kills horses it deems unfit to be sent to its holding corrals. So Old Man Gandalf probably won't do this. Now, this roundup was supposed to happen, I believe, on Monday, and they kind of put it off because they were looking at more data. They were looking at more, science around this, blah, blah, blah. That's what I want to say about that. But it's happening tomorrow. Now, somebody said that it's important, and I already did this. I emailed the White House press secretary directly, because we really need to just fill up her inbox. Her name is Jen Psaki. It's spelled Psaki. And her email is, I texted it to Ogimaa, and if you could just put that up on our screen, Ogimaa, it's Jennifer.R.Psaki, and it's spelled Psaki, at who.eop.gov. I sent her an email about it, and just to ask, like, one last ditch effort.
Yeah.
Please, let's save these Ogimaa horses in Utah, because it's just really very, very sad. I'm just going to read some of the email. And this is what I just wrote. I'm writing to you to ask for your help. The Ogimaa horse roundup in Utah is scheduled to take place tomorrow, June 14th. I am not asking. I'm actually begging you to help stop this unnecessary, inhumane, and cruel roundup. There is a small, healthy herd of 200 to 400 horses to be replaced by 25,000 cattle and sheep due to claim that the land is unsustainable, and this is not a balanced use of our public lands. The BLM uses cruel, expensive methods for roundups, including helicopter support used by my tax dollars, which deeply traumatizes the horses, causing injuries, separates foals from mothers, and breaks up families. They currently will not let the public view the roundup, so we cannot hold them accountable.
Ooh.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, that's another really big thing. There is no objective oversight agency to assure a cruelty-free process. Until there is more legislative, unbiased research, we must stop this roundup. So if you could please do that. Also, Deb Haaland, our Interior Secretary, let me grab her phone number. I have it right here somewhere. You could also call her. I've left her messages, and she could maybe help. It's 202-208-3100, option 3, and you could just leave a message. And we need to call as many people as possible. We call people about line 3. Please call them about the Ogimaa horse roundup that will take place tomorrow, which is going to be horrible.
Wow, good segment, Wendy. People need to know that we are those are our relatives.
Mm-hmm. Those are our relatives.
We need to know that. Hey, I would like to end with these thoughts. If you're listening to this show, you are part of the resistance. From Chief Plenty Coops, the ground on which we stand on is sacred ground. It is the blood of our ancestors. We need to resist, divest, join a group, and run for office. Peeny Gigi to Wendy, as always. Ogimaa with the news, and Lewis for everything else, filling in all the gaps. Special thanks to all 3 of our callers. We're still here. We are the 7th generation.
Free Leonard Peltier. Stop line 3. Please get vaccinated.
I'm Candy Broffel, publisher of the Twin Cities edition of Natural Awakenings magazine.